I'm Hema. I'm a graduate student as well. On that previous question, I would like to add, do you think it would be helpful, rather than being from the technical point of view, totally, getting involved in the organizations like women-oriented organizations or kind of leadership in the oil and gas company? Do you think it would help stepping ahead for higher positions?
To get involved in women's organizations?
Yes.
Sure. Everything you get involved in helps.
Okay.
You know, again, with work-life balance question, I think it's really critical for people who are single to not just work all the time. You got to have a life, and you got to be thinking about things other than yourself and your job, and that's where I think the not-for-profit organizations are so important. You got to volunteer, which is a great way to get to network, to develop, to just learn a lot, and also to get some satisfaction from helping others, I think, and keep things in perspective. Yeah, absolutely get involved in women's organizations. I think everybody you meet, you can learn something from, and maybe you can help them too. And that's, I think, the key is you got to think about it as a reciprocal relationship.
And one more actually. It's going to be quick. So have you ever had a situation like somebody would criticize you and have you ever felt like, oh, if I would have been a man, they wouldn't have said that to me? Did you ever feel like that?
I've still criticized me, and I've probably taken it too personally, and probably let it hurt my feelings, instead of thought, huh, yeah, I guess you're right. You know, it's only after the fact, and as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at it, frankly. Taking constructive criticism well is great in terms of how you can advance. Taking it poorly will be a real problem. Yeah, well, here's one quick story. When I joined Marathon, I came from the outside. I came from a small company. This is a 125-year-old company, and all male direct reports, well, except for one, but essentially all male direct reports, two of whom thought they had earned the CFO job. And within 6 months of joining, we have a mentorship program. And so I signed up to be a mentor. I thought, well, why not? That's a good thing to do. And this fellow who's a direct report of mine looked at me and said, you can't be a mentor. What do you know? You've only been here 6 months. Now, would he have said that to his new boss if his new boss were a man? No. So he's retired. He's gone. The other one, he's gone. Retired. Yeah, I didn't fire. Because I found that, things were changing, and these were people who don't like change. So, they self-select out.
I have another question about work-life balance. As a potential doctor, I've been told, like from Baylor College of Medicine, that they have problems with female doctors staying in the field once they have families. And so I've been told that I have an idealistic, view of the future where I could find a guy that would be willing to drop, half of his career potentially to take care of a family. Do you think that's unrealistic, or is it changing enough that you would, instead of women dropping out or taking out significant chunks of their career, that men would be doing the same thing?
The first thing I'd say is the man doesn't have to drop half of his career. Second thing, we've got a case study right here. My sister is a doctor, still practicing, and she's older than I am. And her husband is a professor at Duke, musicology, which is also a very demanding, very prestigious job. Now, he has a little bit more flexibility than if he were, probably in corporate America, but it's a very demanding job. They made it work. Wonderful child right here. I have another sister who is a lawyer. And, she's not as excited about the law. She had 2 children. And so she took a somewhat lower, she didn't go the high power route, but she didn't want to. Her husband's a professor also. I've got a good friend from college. She got her MD, PhD, and is a practicing internist, top internist in New York. And she's got 3 kids. And her husband is sort of an entrepreneur, businessman. They make it work. At a certain point, and she had 2 of her children. Her first husband was an investment banker. Okay, and then she had with 1 child and then remarried and had 2 children. And So another way to make this work is if you have a lot of money. In fact, I was on a panel. This Catalyst is an organization, a not-for-profit organization in New York that is for the purpose of supporting women in business. And I don't know if it's just business, but women in their careers. And so I was on a panel, just two of us, and the other woman was a senior vice president at Halliburton in their legal group. And I think she was over compliance, ethics, integrity, whatever. And yeah, she was hysterical. And younger than I, quite a bit younger than I, in fact. And not married, she's an unmarried mom. And I don't know for sure if she just decided to adopt this child or what, how she came this way. But basically somebody asked that question, my gosh, you've got this incredibly big job, you're a single mother, young child, how do you do it? She said, some people don't like this answer, but you know what I do? I outsource. I outsource all the stuff that's not important. I do the stuff that's important. And so if you think about it, so you get somebody who will do the housekeeping, you get somebody who will do the grocery shopping, you get somebody who will do the cooking. Except for on weekends, she made all the baby food herself and then packaged it up. So, does she have any time for herself? I hope so. And I think she does. She was pretty impressive. There are different ways to get there, and absolutely you can do it. Plenty of women have done it. As I said, there's give and take. Will you be the top earner in your practice? Maybe not. Because that's not what you aspire to. That's not how you measure success. Right? You're going to be successful if you have a medical career that gives you satisfaction, that helps your patients, and at the same time can have a rewarding personal life, whether you have children or not. So again, it gets back to kind of you being you.
One more question.
Hello, I'm Vivian. I'm a sophomore in architecture school. So right now we have you to look as a role model, but back then I imagine you had much less choice of role models. And I wanted to ask, who was your role model, and what was one piece of advice that you can never forget?
Well, I've been asked this question a lot, and I'm not, I kind of think back to investment banking, it was a little tough, right? But then I realized that it started long before then. My parents were both very, very focused on education. And when we were little kids, they told us we could do whatever we wanted to do if we just put our minds to it. We believed them. I'm very fortunate because I have three older sisters, one of whom got her PhD in geophysics. She went to MIT undergrad, physics and PhD. The next one went to Wellesley and got her law degree from UT. The next one went to Harvard and then got her medical degree from Baylor. So I had no problem seeing women be successful, whether it was in math, science, the professional fields, no problem at all. Now, I have to mention my little brother because he's great too, but he wasn't a role model particularly, and he's also an attorney. So I think it's really my family has been my best role model, and I think that sort of spirit of you can do whatever it is you set out to do has really carried through. And it was the importance of academics, and I can remember Mom too. And I'd say, hey Mom, I got an A+, and I didn't even study. She said, that's terrible. Because what that meant was I wasn't learning as much as I could have been learning, right? I was satisfied that I got 100 on the test, and her attitude was you could have gotten more out of it than that. So that's probably, if I can come up with role models, that's probably the best.
Okay, let's give Ms. Clark a big round of applause.